Player off day.
Yeah. Who was that coming out of the door there?
What's that?
Said who was that came out of the door there?
Sharp dressed voice.
Yeah, I've been guzzling Powerade. Yeah.
Clint, can you tell us when you're ready? Okay, we'll go ahead and get started.
All right.
Everybody got situated here.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Georgia Tech Interim Head Coach Brent Key. Coach, if you could open us up with some remarks before we take questions.
Appreciate you guys being here. You know, going into a bye week this week that's not typically like a normal bye week since we play on a Thursday coming up. But you know, it's really a time for us to, you know, put the last game to bed, which we did yesterday in normal fashion. We put the game to bed, and now we're able to take these next few days to really focus on our improvement, you know, individually and as a team, and improve on, you know, in our recovery and to get better as a team, get healthy. So those are really the two main things that we're going to focus on in the bye week, which, you know, again, it's not a typical 7-day bye week. It's more of a 3 or 4 day time frame that we have. You know, we've started to, you know, establish an identity as a team. That's something we talked about a while ago, a couple weeks ago, was establishing an identity that we're going to play harder than the team. We're going to play for 60 minutes. We're going to be the most physical team on the field. We're going to work to be the most disciplined team on the field. And then we're going to play for each other, and we're going to play for Georgia Tech. And you know, we're starting to establish that identity right now, but then persistence is going to be the key to it. And persistence is really, to me, the ability to finish something that you've started. And the persistence and then the ability to sustain is what's going to help us moving forward, you know, as we move into now the third season that comes up against Virginia. You know, we have a nationally televised game coming up on Thursday night against Virginia, and it's kind of cool that, you know, take myself back for a second, you know, but the last game I played in Bobby Dodd Stadium was against Virginia on a Thursday night. So I didn't even realize that until the other day, and I think my mom might have said something to me, but you know, to know what Thursday night games are like here at Bobby Dodd, and the lights of the city behind the stadium, and the fans and the student section, and how they can be and how they can affect a game on those Thursday night games. It's going to be a special game, and it's going to be another opportunity for these guys to go out and, you know, accomplish something that they're going to set to accomplish this week with their preparation. You know, with that being said, I mean, you know, the student section and the fans and the crowd on Saturday night were outstanding. I mean, it was such a great atmosphere. You know, there's one in particular play where, you know, we kick off and Gavin kicks it through the end zone, and the entire kickoff team runs down through the back of the end zone, and, you know, they're, you know, getting the fans going and the student section going, and the student section's going crazy, and just that momentum, you know, they carried on through the rest of the game, and then us having the ability to play the overtime in this end zone, you know, really was a big determining factor in how the game ended. So you know, we need another great crowd like that on Thursday night to really help these kids and motivate these kids and show them that everyone's behind them in their quest to, you know, be successful on Thursday night. Finally, we'll go ahead and say one thing before we get started with questions, that in regards to the 10th coach, we did elevated Don Ely to the 10th full-time coach. He will be a special teams assistant and offensive assistant. He's a longtime head coach, has a lot of experience in offense and special teams, so he'll be a big asset there in both of those areas. He'll be in the box on game days, and then being able to help see kind of a bird's eye from up top too, and help with some different situations and things. And then Anthony Parker, you can't miss him over there with the very dull neutral colors on. We've you know, we've promoted Anthony and made him the director of player development, so he'll be working in that role moving forward, and really, you know, help with a lot of things on the football team, and help me with a lot of things, and help with players in the locker room and with leadership on the team. So that being said, open for questions.
Okay, good. Take a microphone. We'll start with Rob.
You've had some guys banged up on the offensive line throughout the season, and you've had a mix and match. What have you seen from what, you know, the next guy up mentality has been, and also how do you feel that the depth has been developed at that position?
Yeah, well, you know, it's part of the game of football. You're going to have injuries. You're going to have guys get hurt, and you've got to have that next man up mentality. But those guys have to be prepared as well, and prepared during the week. And being able to go through the game on Saturday and have some of those same challenges that we had in previous years, but still be able to come out, on top at the end of the game. That's a testament to the depth and how those guys are being developed. Now we've got to continue to be more consistent offensively as the game goes on at the end of the game in some of those situations, regardless of who's in the football game. And that's our job as coaches, and that's what we work on every day. Is when things like that happen, of continuing to have a way to adapt and adjust with different guys in there. But to be able to continue to play in the game with some of those things that happened, and especially early on in the game, we were already down a couple of guys. Credit to those guys and the development on the practice field that they're having.
Kelly?
Can you talk a little bit about Nate and his job with your offensive linemen and kind of stepping into that role? Obviously, that was a comfortable situation for you to let him kind of take the lead there a little bit, but just talk about the job he's been doing.
Yeah. To have Nathan, go in there, and he knows the guys. He knows them. He knows our scheme. He knows our terminology. He played big time football. I mean, he was, was very. He was a walk-on at Ohio State and worked his way into a role that, not only was he, doing different things as far as a player, but he was the guy on the sideline that was signaling. He was, helping, his offensive line coach at that time. So it was really a natural transition when he moved into the GA spot 2 years ago, and now being in his second year as a grad assistant, really had a good feel for the things that were going on in that room and the kids. And that's what's so important is, the X's and O's and the schematic part is important, but the ability to get the kids to play hard and to practice hard, that's important. And especially when you have a younger group of guys, it's very important that those guys have somebody that they trust, that's leading them. And I've been able to still be involved and get in, be in the room at times. And after that first week of practice, going into the second week, I was able to really pinpoint and identify what different times of practice I can go and work with the offensive line and work with this group or that group and see different things. So it's enabled a good transition.
Ken?
It seems like the defense has played better the last couple of weeks, and pressure and turnovers and sort of thing. You mentioned accountability and discipline. Like, what have you tried to implement there, and with Andrew and kind of to achieve the sort of things you want to see?
Yeah, I've known Andrew a long time, from his time as a grad assistant with us at UCF, and then bringing him back on as a full-time coach years later, and knowing what an outstanding football coach he is and what an outstanding mind and he is, and know how the kids respond to his coaching too, and the things that Andrew's been able to do as far as putting the game plan together the last couple of weeks, and simplifying things when they need to be simplified. When I've said it for 2 weeks now that we go into the week, and by Thursday we tell the team, if there's something you're not sure about it, you don't understand, tell your coaches and we'll take it out. And that's been something they've really bought into, the kids have, and it's allowed them to be confident in their preparation going into the game, and that's a huge piece, especially on defense, of being able to play fast and play confident, that you are confident in what your coaches have given you during the week. And that's what they've done. And then the defense has done a great job. Everybody talks about running and playing hard and affecting the quarterback, and the TFLs, which we're moving up to where we want to be in regards to that. And but communication is such an important part of defensive play, because it happens within a split second, and those guys on the back end of having to communicate coverages and coverage adjustments, and so the more volume you have on the back end, the more variables come with different adjustments and changes and different things with motions. And if you watched Duke last week, I think it was 21 out of the first 25 plays they had some sort of a change of strength motion from being formation into the boundary back to the field, and all of those call for adjustments on the back end. Well, you can't sit back there and be silent and expect those things to happen. So, so it's a big onus on the safeties, to be able to do those things. And Miles Brooks has done an amazing job of communicating and getting things fixed on the back end and getting them set the right way. And then Clayton came in for Jalen last week and as a true freshman really played a really sound football game. But it all goes back to the way they've prepared during the week, and they've practiced on the field and prepared in the meeting rooms and through walkthroughs, that they have the trust in each other. When somebody communicates, they hear them, and whether it's verbally or nonverbal, and they know where they're supposed to be. I know that's a long-winded answer for your question, but it's very encompassing.
Sarah.
Hey there. I know it's kind of a unique bye week for y'all, but as a coach, how do you go about balancing getting guys maybe a little bit of rest, a little bit of a mental recharge with not wanting to slip at all?
Yeah, well, when I talked to the guys yesterday, I said, our focus this week is on recovery and improvement. It's those two things. And, we've created a friendly schedule for them this week that allows them to improve. As offense and defense and special team staffs, we are, for the last 2 days, all we're doing is self-scout and, things that we have to improve on, and then how we're going to improve on those things. We're also giving players detailed evaluations on the same things. Every coach will meet with their position players one-on-one between yesterday and today. We will tell them, make them aware of what they're doing well, what they're not doing well and need to improve on, but then also how to improve on it, not just telling them, but telling them how they have to improve over the next few days. And then, heading into the, practice tomorrow. And I told them yesterday, I said, look, I want you guys away from the building. I want you guys to have a chance to have some mental recovery as well, not just the physical recovery, but have a mental break. Get away from the building. Don't feel like you have to be here and do certain things. And some of them, you should have seen their faces. They were like, they're like, Coach, I'm sleeping in the morning. And I'm like, I would too if I were y'all. So, but just giving them that mental break to be away a little bit and decompress, and then to know what these guys go through every day of a week, not just with football, but with the academics that they have. They need some time to decompress and focus just on their academics and, catch up on some things in school that they need to. Then improve as a football player when that time comes during the week when practice starts up. And we'll go out and we'll practice tomorrow, and it'll be very, very, very little on the next opponent, but it'll be, primarily all improvement personally or individually for the players, and then, schematically each side of the ball on things we have to work on and improve on.
Rob.
After the game, you talked to the players about it being a team win, and also you talked about preparation. And what role has the scout team played in that? And are there any guys that you could single out that you've seen from that scout team that's helped you prepare for these games?
Yeah, they're the unsung heroes that go each week, and for those guys to be able to give us the look that we need, and it changes every week. It's different from schematically. It's different from what they're used to doing. So to be able to learn that and meet on it and understand what they're supposed to do, and then give us the look that can somewhat replicate what we're going to see on Saturdays. That's how we talk about. We're trying to close that gap between the game and practice. Every day, that's our goal, is to close that gap and to make that margin a lot smaller, because the more you can do that, the easier the game's going to be. The game's going to slow down for you. There's not going to be surprises. You're not going to short circuit in your head when you narrow that gap between the two. And the scout team's a big part of that. Once we kind of get on a normal schedule, we'll have some things after a Sunday practice. We'll allow those guys to, have a little fun and have some competition between themselves. And we have scout team players of the week each week, and just to recognize those guys and show them that they are a very important part of what we do.
Kelly.
A fan dug up a tweet of mine from 2019 from the first time we spoke, and you talked about how your decision to come back here and leave Alabama, which is obviously one of the most successful programs in the country. And you talked about how people would understand why you left. Obviously, it's a little different than maybe what you expected in your mind in 2019, but can you just talk about like this sort of path now that you're on and kind of how you deal with it mentally? Like, this is obviously your dream job. You have an opportunity to kind of showcase what you can do. Just talk about kind of where you're at and all of that.
I wish I had time to. I mean, I really do, but Kelly, we tell the players every day that we have to focus and eliminate external distractions, and focus on what's in front of us and focus on this season alone, which is a 1 week span, or actually a little more than a week for this one. But as a coach, if I do anything other than that, I'm a hypocrite. So I've got to do what I'm telling the guys to do. The coaches on the staff have to do the things that we're telling the players to do. We don't have time to look back or look forward. You can learn lessons from what's happened in the past, but all we're focused on is each day, what our goal is that day, how we have to improve that day, and how it can help us achieve success the following game.
Have you had to pinch yourself
Again, ask me in a couple months.
Ken?
You mentioned about closing the gap a couple times, and can you give us an example of like something that you've tweaked in practice, or something you told players of, I want you to do this, think about this, or approach it this way to do that?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's setting the expectation of what you want, and setting the expectation of what practice is and why you practice a certain way. And when the kids understand that we're going to practice this way because it's going to help us improve in the game, because we're going to close the distance in the game. Hey guys, why did we have 5 false starts against Clemson when they moved the front? Yeah, we practiced it. Yeah, we worked on it. But the game was so much bigger than the practice had been. Why did we go to UCF and the defense jumped off sides 3 times or 4 times, whatever it was? Did we not practice hard counts? Yeah, we practiced hard counts. But now we've got to eliminate that gap in between it and then show them examples of why. Show them examples of why that's true. And, it goes for anybody. It goes for any of us. You can't just tell people something and expect them to do it. Those days are long, long gone. Everyone wants to question. They want to know why. No different than when we're telling the guys this week what they have to improve on. Well, we're telling them what they have to improve on. We're also telling them how they have to do it. And, to put proof and to back up what you're saying is everything, especially to young people right now. And that's what we have to do. We have to continue to show them, why what we're talking about is the right thing through examples.
Time for a couple more. Rob?
I know Coach Long probably wanted, as the season progressed, to get the tight ends a little more involved in the offense. How has the return of Dylan Leonard facilitated that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's obviously a guy that has a lot of experience and has played a lot of football. Getting back to a full speed and being healthy and being involved in the offense, and he's big, he's strong, he can run, so you can create some matchups with him. And we had a couple of first play of the game, had a big catch on the play, and then the third, I think it was 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 8 in the red area, going that way, he had a big catch for a first down. So being able to utilize him in a way that can create some matchups is a huge advantage. And I know Chip's continually looking for ways to create those mismatches and take advantage of them.
Kelly?
Your guys will go out on the road recruiting now for the first time since you've taken over. Just kind of what is the message you're going to tell kids? And obviously it's kind of a little bit strange because you don't necessarily know what the future holds, but just kind of what's your message for your guys when you go out on the road this week, and what did you tell your staff?
The big thing is getting into high schools and showing the Georgia Tech logo. And we talked about earning our respect back on the field, and each week earning respect and people being proud to wear the GT again. We talk about that with the kids, and I want these coaches to be proud to wear it and go out in this area, and be able to show that we're proud to wear it and show that there's something behind that GT. And we're recruiting like no different. I mean, we're moving forward. We're worried about each day that we're in. And when that time comes on Thursday, if the coaches go out, they'll go out and they'll recruit their butts off and be able to evaluate kids. And we go to games on Friday night. The full staff will be out at games, all over all around the Southeast, really. And business as usual, moving full speed ahead, one day at a time.
Ken, you want to wrap this up?
You always have the last one, don't you?
Well.
It's always, he sits back there silent. He sits back there kind of silent and kind of Can't say anything. Yep.
Like Mariano
I'm
Rivera.
last. I'm last. Closer. The closer.
Yeah. The punt team, I remember saying before.
Why did I know you were going to say that? I knew
You
it.
should have addressed it.
Well, it was nothing schematic that I was talking about here. I was waiting for it.
But I imagine having the extra time gives you a chance to maybe diversify things or add things, I guess. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's when we made that decision 2 weeks ago to revamp and totally overhaul the punt team. Excuse me. First part was protection. We had to put in a call for that game. We had one call in the first game that we knew we could get protected and get the ball off. All right. So we go into the second game. All right. Well, we know that they know we only have one call, so we've got to do something now for that. Okay. So we put in an adjustment. Okay, well, we're practicing the coverage aspect of it, but the protection part of it was a huge, huge emphasis, right? So, kind of huddled back in the corner. Me and Boogie were. We know there's still some issues on this thing now, and we're working like heck to fix them. But we've got to be detailed in our approach on how we cover, and our lanes. We're not chasing color, and they had a really good punt returner. I mean, kid, he's a fine punt returner, and they exposed a couple things, and we had some guys have some uncharacteristic loafs on the play, which have been addressed and shown. Some schematic part where we had a guy get doubled, like we said after the game, got doubled, and we lost leverage and contain on the play. And the other thing too is we have to have more people continue to step up on the team to play on special teams. And I don't know the exact number of starters, defensive starters that were on the punt team, but we've got to eradicate that this week too and get other guys that are big-bodied guys that can run and hit and make tackles on that unit, and that'll help out the whole thing. But that's when you talk about the improvement part and the self-scout part that we're working on this week. That's obviously from special teams. That's a big portion of it. So we got to continue to go 1 foot ahead on that thing and know what the issues are, pinpoint them, fix them, and obviously, and then in return be able to look 2 steps ahead, 2 weeks ahead of things that are going to come up and continue to work on those.
Thank you, Coach Key. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
So is Nathan still going to class and like basically being a full-time? You can ask Nathan. All right.